Oh, all right, here we are.
Hey,
RPS, strokes gained.
What a week, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it was a wild, obviously non-finish. And hang on one second, I'm getting spam called. Someone put that out today. I guess everyone else like me is getting spam called 4 times an hour. I mean, it's bananas. Yeah, it was an interesting finish. A lot of sort of heartache in the Twitter streets about unpaid wagers spent or matched after the third round. I was not griping about it. Well, maybe a little. I was just saying that, it's quite a free roll that some of these books get, that they can just void any bet if it doesn't finish. And then all the action that us fish put on the top 20 parlays. If it did finish, they would just cash all those tickets because they were dead. So someone on Twitter, posted that people like me, I wasn't complaining, but it was just, tongue-in-cheek content. People like me wanting to get these bets paid out after round 3 are insufferable. Insufferable. They're insufferable. I cannot stand these people. Really, your life is at the point where a tweet about, wanting to get $1 million bet paid out is insufferable. So I'm insufferable, Andy.
Insufferable is also your brand. Like chestnut checkers, you're just playing into the bet, right? Insufferable was always the game plan from day one with you, right?
Yeah. It's always, what is someone's really heavily held on to convictions, and how do I pull you back to center, regardless of the topic? So, what did you think of last week, though?
I was certainly one of the happy folks with how things played out, given a 90-1 pre-tournament Wyndham Clark ticket.
Sure.
And I was about an hour inland of Pebble Beach all week in Northern California in Davis, and visiting my girlfriend, who's already in the chat. I thought she was in surgery, but that's wonderful to have her as well, trolling already. But I could not.
The dog on the operating table. This golf show takes precedence.
I just was shocked at the fact that this was not called a little bit earlier, like even an hour inland from Pebble Beach.
Right.
The power went down. There were gale force winds. Roads were closed. I know that there was a shelter at home place and already in place at Carmel that I think the mayor of Carmel put in place sometime around Sunday afternoon. So by the time it got to Sunday afternoon, I think a lot of us were thinking this is a when, not if, this tournament gets canceled on Sunday. And finally, it seems like they pulled the plug late on Sunday evening, which made my flight back to home a lot more tenable with the extra Wyndham cash in my pocket. So, I think it would have been a lot of fun to watch these players try and navigate some really difficult extreme conditions that we see in places like Scotland and Ireland. But just speaking from somebody that was about an hour away from Pebble Beach all weekend, it wasn't going to happen. It was never going to happen. And this forecast was in place for 6 days straight, right? So we knew that this was going to be an issue. I'm a little surprised they didn't make an effort. I know this would be a logistical challenge to maybe try and see what they could have done with a 36-hole day on Saturday, where they had pretty pristine weather on Saturday. But
I don't want to see that. I don't want to see gale force winds.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the purists wanting to see the 60-mile-an-hour winds. I don't want to see that. It was, listen, when you saw the trees down Sunday, it was over. They're not going to clean up. They're not going to risk fans or the course getting there and finishing it on Monday. So it makes sense. And good on Wyndham Clark. We're here.
We move on. Scottsdale, baby.
Yeah, I just posted a tweet. So Hovland withdrew, nothing to do with the probably live rumors.
No, did you watch him last week? Like, he's broken.
He's
I mean,
broken.
yeah, this was a total listen, Riviera is a huge event, okay? And an event that Hovland has had a lot of success at the past and can win if he's on his game.
Sure.
I totally understand the concept of your time spent is going to be more valuable at home, hopefully working with whatever new coach he has, trying to fix some things, because the
Right.
short game looked like it was back to square one. And even more, I mean, Hovland can win tournaments with a bad short game. I was more concerned with his iron play. His iron play was almost as poor as the short game. I mean, he was missing greens from the center of the fairway. So
That's not good. That's
my
not good
first,
for him.
not good for him at all. So my first reaction was, man, if you watched Hovland last week, this probably has less to do with something related to live as much as it has to do with the guy's got to try and figure out a way to get right in time for a pretty awesome stretch of golf that we have coming up over the next couple months.
So it's funny because I'm your articles are out on runpuresports.com. They're sophisticated, they're well thought out, they are detailed, they're data driven. I put my course notes out. You cannot paywall this shit. However, so that's on Twitter. But it is compiled from years and years of watching these tournaments and saying, hey, Matt, just in case you forgot, here are the things to remember before you build a DFS team and or place an outright. And one of the comments I put to myself in future years was, Wiley, third person. You're special, first of all. You're a special guy. Never forget that. You'll want to play Hovland, but don't.
Yeah.
I will listen to myself from the past. Bye, Natalie. Good luck in surgery. Thank you. She's being too nice. I want to keep up the bit. She needs to grunt. She needs to throw darts.
By the way, blessing in disguise that we don't have to worry about Xander or Hovland, right? Like I was ready to burn a ton of money on a Xander bounce back spot as well. There's nothing more emasculating than her going to save an animal's life and me like talking up Kevin Yu at 7.3K.
No, sitting with giant headphones, talking to a 47-year-old man at 3:00 Eastern time. It's more pathetic for me, but whatever.
About a made-up daily fantasy game.
By the way, I'm back in the zone. I was insufferable for a minute, but I'm feeling energy and I'm back in the zone. And because this is brought to you by, of course, AutoZone. Get in the zone or get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out.
That's what every
get the fuck out. Yeah.
Manager, store, click at AutoZone should adopt as their brand. Are you in the zone? No. Get the fuck out.
Bye. See ya.
Some lug nuts? Are you in the zone? No.
Other shows for you if you're not in the fucking zone.
Aisle 4, yellow door, parking lot. Bye. So yeah, I mean, let's go through your notes here in a second. But for me, it's the fifth major, right? Frankly, it can be even more fun than a major. It's the people's major. The crowd, the energy, the abuse you'll take on 16. You really have to be a golfer with guts, prepared for it, and feed off the crowd. Fan favorites. Ricky, of course, always does well. Justin Thomas, early in his career, took some abuse, and I think it stunned him a little bit. But now he's right in the groove. But listen, like a guy like Finau, who I wanted to play here but didn't want to play here. There's a lot of shit in native area and strokes gained snakes and cacti off the main track that really becomes problematic if you're not a really good driver of the ball. So, and the greens, weather could be a factor this week. People saying it's wet, it's soft, but historically, and Tesori said this in 2019 when he had Webb, was these are some of the fastest greens we'll face on tour. And I posted the Ollie Schneiderjan's putt from, I think, 2018, maybe 17, maybe 19, when he went 80 feet deep and putted off the green. That was on 17.
Okay. First of all, just to piggyback on one of your points, I think there is something. This is one of the highest correlated courses with course history on the PGA Tour, and I talked about this in my article. I talked about this on the podcast I did, but 60% of Phoenix Opens over the last decade have been won by three guys: Brooks, Hideki, and Scotty Scheffler. Right? You very rarely ever see that on the PGA Tour, right? And I think a lot of that, yes, has to do with the fact that those are three great players that fit this golf course perfectly, right? All three of those guys are amazing overall drivers of the ball and great middle iron players, which in my opinion are the two most important pillars to and keys to success at TPC Scottsdale. But you also listen to quotes from Brooks talk about how this atmosphere engages him, right? And I don't think that it is a coincidence that this is one of the only events on the PGA Tour outside of the majors that Brooks has found any modicum of success at, right?
And he enjoys it because he hates the tour and he hates regular stops.
Right. But this has an atmosphere that I would not necessarily say is synonymous with a major, but a lot of the PGA Tour events kind of dully blend together. They're very banal. They don't really have much of a personality, right? Whereas Phoenix has this distinctive personality, this engaging atmosphere. And you look at a lot of the guys that have played well here, and it's guys that have played well at Ryder Cups, right? It's guys that have played well at Ryder Cups and major championships. Because this is kind of one of the lone PGA Tour events that is able to mimic some of the energy that you would maybe get at a Ryder Cup or a major championship. And that's why you've seen players such as JT really embrace that atmosphere here as well.
And the thing is with this course, it's what I said about, I did on the podcast last week. I said, it validates that people can go to a golf tournament and not really care all about shots.
Right.
Or they are there for a party. You've got an incredible facility on 16 as a stadium, which for the life of me, I don't know why the PGA Tour is not replicated at other tour stops, but I'm not in charge of marketing and branding as a stadium series. But it's insane to think about, but this has become a bucket list destination. Augusta, of course.
It's like the best Super Bowl pregame in the world. Right?
Have you been? I mean, when are they saying that about, the Sanderson Farms?
No,
they're not. Right. But again,
we don't want to lose our chicken thigh sponsorship, though. We love the good old folks at Sanderson Farms.
Yeah. Are you a thigh guy or leg guy?
I love a good chicken thigh. We love Sanderson Farms. We love Mississippi on this show.
I went through the number randomly because I read a lot, and I know that's really a problem for the people at RPS and me. But I was reading how many animals are killed to sustain because you think about how much chicken do people eat a day? I mean, my household must eat like 12 alone.
I eat so much chicken. Yeah.
You know how many sharks are killed by humans to eat every year? Take a guess.
Gonna go with 0 to eat.
Shark how many meat, sharks
maybe?
are killed?
I feel like shark meat is maybe a thing culturally in different parts of the world, but I don't see too much shark on the menus out in
320 million sharks a year
are killed.
Yes.
How does that add up? I don't.
Google it. It's insane. Anyway, I digress.
Okay, so the other thing that I would add, and this can transition us into talking about the pricing as well, but you mentioned the weather, and I think that's a key thing to talk about as it pertains to the decision that we will have at the top of the slate with Scotty Scheffler, right? Scottsdale, this area of Phoenix, has received a lot more rain that they have in previous iterations of this tournament, which is kind of a bummer because I love this tournament when it's playing firm and fast, right?
Sure.
But we've seen a lot of rain. And what does rain do? It changes golf course conditions, and it typically makes fairways and greens more receptive, What happens when we have more receptive greens? We have a higher greens in regulation percentage. It's easier to stop long irons and greens. Putting becomes more important. More putting variance tends to determine the golf tournament as opposed to ball striking skill when it's harder to hit greens in regulation based on firmer conditions. So I think that actually makes the Scotty Scheffler conversation this week a bit more complicated, because on one hand, I look at my numbers, and I feel incredibly good about my numbers. I only have a career because of my trust in my numbers, right? And my numbers on Scotty this week are like, this is the strongest course fit. This is the strongest combination of course fit and reset form than I have seen in a player in like a year. Scotty,
And he's won back to back to validate that claim.
right. Now, and to piggyback on that point, I would have made him 12K, especially with Xander not being in the field and Hovland not being in the field. Okay. So you can make the argument that Scotty is underpriced at 11.6 based on form and course fit. Now, on the other hand, the counterpoint to that is, okay, if this golf course is firm and fast, give me Scotty at 800% ownership by $1 million. If this course is a little bit more receptive and it plays a little bit more like the American Express, where Scotty finished T17, and a little bit less like a firm and fast golf course that Scotty is a lock to finish T5, even if he is -3 with the putter, maybe that complicates the conversation a little bit further.
Yes.
So I ask you, because I am, as we sit here on Monday afternoon, very far away from a decision on Scotty. And I'd love to hear some thoughts in the chat as well, because I think the Scotty conversation is a really fascinating one this week. Yeah. It's like the ownership versus numbers. Like, it's, are you happy if you fade him with a T7? Like, there's a lot of meat on that bone in the Scotty conversation. So I'll kick it to you. Where do you stand on a potentially 40, 50%, 11.6 Scotty Scheffler trying to go back to back to back in Phoenix this week?
Okay. I'm with you. You want Scotty in the difficult conditions that make the best player's game rise to that level are firm, fast, and wind. Rough ain't going to do it. You saw last week, softer conditions. Wyndham Clark almost put a 58 down, probably should have, on the smallest greens on tour. Doesn't matter. They are going right after the pins. Scotty was trying to keep up, and everyone was having struggles with putter last week. I mean, there were some just what looked on camera to be brutal putts. I want Scotty Scheffler in tough conditions.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he can make enough putts to keep up to a mid-20s, high 20s under par type week if the waste management is going to play softer. So very, very large greens, flat, they'll destroy the course. And let me prove to you that they did. In 2013, who won? Third time, Phil. Phil shot 28 under par, one of the best putters of all time. Runner-up, Snedeker, incredible putter, but 28 under par. Typically, you say mid to high teens. What happened that year? Weather, a ton of rain, delays for rain, a softer course. Read the USA Today article about it. So I'm not an agronomist. I am a weather guy. We've got a quad Doppler here at RPS that we deploy for members only.
We do. Our weather team, listen, don't judge us on our cut team, okay? No. We're making a lot of changes in that department of RPS. But our weather team is probably one of the strongest points, if not.
We hired 2 people last night at like 11 o'clock.
Right.
Right. But if that is the case, and there's a lot of native Arizonans saying that the course looks soft, it's a lot of water, even for them, then you could make a case for fading the best player in the field, Scotty Scheffler. Again, as Tony says, play the good plays. You can get unique enough in golf that you don't necessarily need to avoid chalk. 11-6 Scotty, back-to-back winner, always top fiving, always top 10. Everyone looked bad with the putter last week. If you want a case to do that, though, there it is. And so what do you start with, right? A Burns, a Thomas.
JT also got to be
playing amazing.
JT's not going to be Scheffler owned, but I will tell you right now, I haven't looked at any ownership. I'd be pretty shocked if JT is sub 25% in big contests.
Right. I mean, the other guys, and Jordan Spieth in his struggling era, I remember a tournament here recently when he played at Waste Management, still in my head. He just had the yips around the green and stuck in my head. I forget what hole it was. I think 8 or 9. I think Jordan Spieth will come in at good ownership. And we talked about him in the Discord last week, right? Does he if he turns it back around to where he was playing,
yeah,
he 9-3 without a Xander or a Hovland, probably in the 10% range or better. Seeing what he did last week, there are options. But the field got. I mean, even Homa too. But the field got considerably weaker without a Hovland or a Xander. And the chalk is going to move right to Scotty. I mean, he's going to be, and rightfully so, 60+% up.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, forget about high stakes. That's a little bit more difficult for me to predict. But just in terms of like the big $5 contest, if I give you over under 40% on Scotty Scheffler, are you taking the over?
Absolutely.
It's so in big contests, Wiley, it is so rare to ever see a guy in PGA DFS, especially in a full field, get over 35%.
Here's why: because they made some bad pricing.
They did.
They mispriced some high sixes. Cage Lee, Stallings, Ryder was mispriced.
Agreed.
You, who you like, who I like you. You like me, I like you. There are some numbers down there that you can fit with safely with even a Scheffler Thomas build and have a real nice team.
That's so wild that you could do Scheffler Thomas this week.
Easily. You could do Scheffler Thomas Burns, and don't get me started. Now, does it get a little ugly? Yes. Are you playing Kevin Stadler? Yes.
2014 champ, the people's champ.
So yeah, I mean, to answer your question,
so 40, you're going over 40.
Oh my God! I said it this week in the Discord. I said Scheffler's going to be 60% plus.
I would.
If it's 28 under though, brother.
Yeah.
Then can he make enough putts to get there? Probably.
Yeah, I'm probably tentatively a little bit lower than you. I think I'm with Kyle. I would put him at 38% if I had to guess in the low big contests. Okay. So I don't know what the high stakes could look like. He could be 80% for all I know in the high stakes. Daniel also makes a good point in the chat. We've had this before, Rom in Mexico, and I actually don't even think the talent delta between Scotty this week and the rest of the field, just because of how well JT is playing and Homa's still like a top 12 guy in the world, is the same as that ROM delta that we've seen in Mexico in the past. And I'm curious to see if a weather narrative takes hold and keeps people off Scotty. I think I'd play Scotty at anything under 40%. And I typically I'm always the guy that fades ROM in Mexico. I'm always the one that takes my chances that one of these elite players is going to have a -3 putting week, which is always in play with Scotty, right? The one guy that I'm surprised you didn't mention, who is my favorite 9+ is Spieth, who's been unbelievable.
I did mention him. I just have
you said Spieth?
Yeah, I said, okay. You're like Mangone. You don't listen to me. I feel unloved. Now I know what Natalie is.
Once you start talking about chicken thighs, I sometimes zone out.
Yeah. We were sponsored by Wing Zone for a while until the incident.
God knows what that was. I like Spieth a lot this week. Spieth, I tracked him pretty closely at Pebble Beach. Spieth hit the ball quite well at Pebble Beach and was never really able to get it going on the greens, which is always a concern with Spieth. But this has been a really good golf course for Spieth over the years. He's finished 4th and 6th in 2 of his last 3 appearances. He's hit the ball really well here, and this golf course seems to fit his eye from a tee to green perspective. So I'm very far away in the week from making a Scheffler decision. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in the Discord all week. But whether I play Scheffler, whether I play Homa or Thomas or whatever, I think I'm doing Spieth no matter what this week. And I think he will be owned. I'm doing Spieth. I think he will be owned, but let me ask you this last question before we get to the 8s. Higher owned this week, Homa, Burns, or Spieth?
Oh, Burns by far.
You think?
Yeah, I've come around on Sam Burns. I promised myself I'd never play something that rhymed with Sam or Cam. But I like Sam Burns, and he has a good course history here. If you're a course history guy, I think Scheffler, Thomas, Burns will be massively owned, and I think the guys that are going to be absolutely have to be in that scenario, projected in terms of value from an ownership side, are going to be Homa, certainly, Spieth, and M, and maybe Fitz, but I don't love Fitz. I don't think Cam Young can make enough birdies with his putter to make
Cam
it work.
Young's going to be like 5%, and
Spieth can.
Kobe's going to jam him. Yeah,
Spieth can. M certainly can when he's playing better. So yeah.
Let's talk about the 8s. A lot of Benny on steam I'm seeing already. Benny on's like 35-1. People did this last week. We passed. We talked about this on the Wednesday premium show.
What's
can
that?
have all the Benny on steam that was coming in. People just like Benny on. I like Benny on. I like Benny on at this golf course way more than I liked him at Pebble Beach. He's still not close to my favorite play in the 8s. And I will tell you, this bottom of I love this range. Okay. So if I play Scotty, I could see myself making a lot of lineups that go Scotty and then jam in a couple guys in the low 8s. I think this is a really good Tom Kim bounce back spot. Okay. I think that Tom Kim should be priced ahead of Poston and On, in my opinion. This is a guy who's won twice on desert golf courses already, right? And he actually showed some signs of life at Pebble Beach. Not a massive course history truther, but man, Hideki at this golf course is a walking bucket. I bet him already.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, I can't quit Hideki at 8,400. I thought,
right.
I saw that price with the people above him. And I'm like, Hideki, he's won here.
Totally.
He hasn't played badly. I mean, he's been in the mix here recently.
He was really good at Torrey Pines. I followed him a lot at Torrey Pines. So to wrap things up, and then I'll kick it to you on the 8s. I love this low 8K range. Hideki in, Adam Scott in, Corey Connors in. I love this golf course for Corey Connors. I highlighted him in my article. And then we can have a Ricky conversation too. That's a bit of a trickier one. But Tom, Hideki, Adam Scott, Corey Connors, I think are all like really great low 8 options.
So I have this circle of players that, I'm not saying active frauds, but potential frauds.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Kim and Corey Connors are
circling.
They're in the potential. They're in the potential.
Yeah. That's fair.
I mean, did Tom Kim have a really good run?
Tom Kim's like 23 years old and has won 3 times and has finished second at an Open Championship.
Yeah. Allegedly.
I know that Kyle's going to come running to Tom's defense. Listen, like, I think Tom Kim, when you finish second at an Open and win 3 times on the PGA Tour before your 24th birthday, I can't go fraud. I can go wait and see, but I can't go fraud.
Yeah. I think Minwoo Lee may be a better play. And Corey Connors he's kind of mid right now. I mean, can he make enough putts, Corey Connors, if his ball striking is not elite to get to a mid-20s under par number if the course is soft? Fowler can. Ricky can.
Yeah.
Ricky crowd darling. Loves it here. Feeds off the energy. He'd probably, I would say that Ricky would be, and Ricky won in 2019. And that's when Ricky wasn't peak Ricky. I think he is the crowd favorite every week, especially here. I like Ricky. I know you're going to like Hadwin too.
Yeah.
Your model pump him out.
Yeah, always on desert golf courses. Hadwin is like the number 3 player in this field on desert golf courses. He's like a walking bucket in the desert, and he's already played well at the Amex earlier this year. And on a softer golf course, this is going to actually play more like the Amex than it has in previous iterations. So I do love Hadwin, but I actually think I like Adam Scott more.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was good. He was really good he was a slam play for me last week at Pebble Beach, and I think he ended up like T14 or T20 and looked really good.
Have you seen Thomas Dietrich swing?
Yeah, of course.
It's immaculate. It kind of looks like Adam Scott's. He reminds me of Adam Scott.
He kind of dresses like Adam Scott too. That tan.
I think that was the reason why.
That tan sweater that he was wearing on what would have been Saturday. The Bo Hostler fade. Did it kill us? Did it kill us? No. Did it work out for us? Whatever. I'm not going to ever do it. I'm going to stand strong on this. Bo Hostler, 8K.
No way.
Right next to Siwoo Kim, Open champion Brian Harmon, and Adam Scott and Corey Connors. No thanks again for me, I think.
No, I'm never going to roster, and this is an RPS.
People love that guy. It's not an RPS.
I don't know why, and it's recently.
Because people at RPS really like Bo. You and I feel like I and Kobe are the big abstainers.
Scheffler hates Bo Hostler too. They fought in college.
Did they really?
Yeah, there's a huge ordeal, and it was Bo's fault. And he had to apologize to Scotty, which I don't think he did. This is the RPS Wiley guarantee. If you sign up for RPS, code Andy15 or Andy, I will never roster a guy named Bo ever. No, I don't get the love, especially when you got Siwoo Kim. Now there's a guy who can make birdies, a ton of them.
Brian Harmon Siwoo over Bo
every time. Brian Harmon again, bad. Brian Harmon's one of the Matsuyama. I think soft price, bad price. Brian Harmon's still in the 7s. Same thing. Even a Lowry. I
love Lowry this week. Thank you for saying. I'm a big Lowry fan.
Dietrich played well last week. He needs to probably at least dial in more his wedges. He had some good, recovery shots around the green. His driver is elite. Thomas Dietrich's driver is elite. I think they mispriced him at 7.6. I think there's a lot of things down here that if the markets reflected odds Wednesday, the pricing would be totally different.
Agreed.
So, and even low T Montgomery, right?
Yeah,
he's a great
softer greens. Yeah,
soft T Montgomery. He's great tee to green,
great putter,
good putter. They're still makes a ton of birdies. They're still getting him wrong at 7.4. Now let me talk about Hubbard, your guy, Mark Hubbard.
So, I really agree with you on Harmon and what this would not be the first time that, they have forgotten about elite major champion golfers in exchange for the flavor of the week. And we have been able to capitalize on common sense. Wyndham now where he should be at 9K is one of the 15 best golfers on the PGA Tour anytime he tees it up. But I feel similarly about, I don't think Lowry is probably has been as deserving enough as a Harman or a Wyndham Clark in recent times. But Lowry's a guy that we were betting at Open Championships at like 30-1 proverbially, right? And he's actually has a sneaky good resume on this golf course. I watched him at Torrey Pines. I played him at Torrey Pines. He looked pretty good at Torrey Pines.
Who's this?
Shane Lowry.
Okay.
7.7.
I knew that. I just wanted to tune you out. That was it.
Yeah. 7.7 has, again, been a lot better on this golf course than you would expect. And I don't think he'll be highly owned because people kind of forget about Shane Lowry a lot. I will be there. Akshay, I think it's a really good Akshay golf course. This is way more of a tee to green test, a ball striker's course. Maybe that gets mitigated a touch more under the softer conditions. We've still seen Akshay contend at a putting contest, right? He putted excellently at the Century. The putter has been much improved for Akshay. That's been the focus point of his offseason was the putting. So I think even under softer conditions, Akshay is live. And then if we get down to the low sevens, Glover, Aaron Rai, Michael Kim. I'm going back to Svensson. And then I think that
you go back to Michael Kim.
I'm going back to Svensson. I'm going back to Michael Kim. Unless Michael Kim just like now going on podcasts is going to make his ownership double what it should be, then I will. It will be. I reserve right to change my opinion on Michael Kim. If he's like double the ownership, then he should be, because he's taking all podcast requests. I had a couple people, he was like, what podcast should I go on? And there were a bunch of people that tweeted Inside Golf Podcast, which I really appreciate people saying that. I have no idea what I would ask Michael Kim. I'd really have to.
I got the same thing. I got the same thing. Same reply. I called him gutless today. He was in my replies today. He said he putted in the water once. I forget what course. And I said, "You're gutless."
I don't want to burn Michael Kim anymore. Michael Kim. Like I don't.
My first question to him will be, "Why are you gutless?"
Yeah, I think he serves. I think what he's doing on Twitter is good work. I think the bar's so low. I don't think he's like one of the most compelling figures in golf because he tweets.
What did you even mention? What are you looking for this week in terms of course fit? Did we talk about that, or like what are your
is that proprietary to RPS?
Yeah, that's probably true.
I could give you. I mean, I talked about it on my podcast too. Like, this is such an important middle iron course and such an important overall total driving course. So like, this is not a golf course where it's far more beneficial. I'm going to try and land the plane with how I describe this, but you want to be above average at both distance and accuracy. I would rather have my guy be like 25th ranked in distance and 25th ranked in accuracy than somebody who's the longest player on tour but super wild, or somebody who's the shortest player on the tour but super accurate. Like, it doesn't. Why
isn't Finau here? Right, he's just given up on this course.
Yeah, it doesn't really favor like elite distance or elite accuracy. It just favors guys who are really solid at both. And you look at Scheffler, Hideki Matsuyama, Brooks Koepka. Those are Gary Woodland, who
Fowler was not a bad driver of the ball.
Great driver of the ball in his day, right? So you look at all those guys and like, they have above average distance and above average accuracy, right? And those are the types of guys that have been able to succeed at Scottsdale. And
Thomas Dietrich.
Thomas Dietrich. And like, I played Gary Woodland in his first start coming off brain surgery. I played him in his second start coming up. I didn't play him in his first start, I don't think. I played him in his second start coming off brain surgery. I'm gonna keep playing Woodland at a golf course that he's won at 7K. He is, of the 7K guys, like one of the best ball strikers in this field. And I'm going to keep jamming Svensson too, who looked really good for us at Pebble on Saturday.
You love jamming Svensson and you love selling Svensson. That
I
is
do. I
It's
get
like you've got a
defensive
bunch of
about
overstocked
Svensson, man.
Svensson in your garage and you're just trying to dump it on all of us.
I know. And I
But that was like
apologize.
me with Nick Hardy. That was a very bad play.
I did the Nick Hardy. I took everybody on the Nick Hardy wagon at Torrey too. Yeah, I know. I think there are great options down here. Like, I think that Luke List at 7-1 is kind of underpriced
I
unless
agree.
it becomes
I agree.
super putting dependent. Aaron Rye is a really good fit for this golf course. He's like, if you don't like Corey Connors this week at 8.1, but you want the tee to green consistency that you can get from Corey Connors, just play Aaron Rye at 7.1.
Good iron player.
Great iron player, very accurate driver of the ball. Shout out.
Crew says Tom Hoagie. See, Tom Hoagie's interesting. I won't talk about why, but they pulled down his matchup line with Corey Connors on Thursday, and we all keyed into that as to why.
Yeah.
And so we started hammering Connors. Right now, I don't love Tom Hoagie. And he had a great Friday, but a terrible Thursday. And the market's new Thursday. So keep in touch with those lines.
Not a huge Hoagie guy this week for me personally, although I understand it based on the middle iron play. What about Jake Knapp at 6.9?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. You know, him down the stretch at the Farmers.
Mm-hmm.
I said, okay, if you're going to play the Pavon fade, I started loading up on Knapp. That guy can absolutely murder a ball off the tee.
Saw it up close in person, passes the eye test. Like,
yeah. All the golfers I don't know, and people are on like that Duchasset from, what is it, Belgium or Austria or Finland?
ADDC.
ADDC. I'm always like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. And then Jake Knapp, same thing, until I see him, and then it's my decision. I'm like, I do like Jake Knapp now. I think 6.9 Jake Knapp at a driver-heavy, accurate driver length, softer course. He's kind of a game or two. He's kind of got a little moxie to him. I think the crowd will like him. So I like Jake Knapp, and I also like KH Lee.
How can you not? Underpriced, KH Lee, Sam Ryder, like all those guys at 6.9.
That motherfucker can put up scores. KH Lee. All of a sudden, he's 13 under before you know it. So, yes.
I'd feel very comfortable this week with a roster construction of two guys in the high sixes this week. Like I genuinely think that, like, I love Doug Gim too. I know you don't, but he's coming off a really strong performance at Torrey Pines.
Like
our
Sam
guy
Ryder.
got her up. What's the Scott Stallings buzz? I've gotten like 6 Scott Stallings texts this morning, and maybe I'm missing something.
Stallings is a guy that can, he fluctuates. We've seen him recent tournaments, even over the past few weeks, where Stalling took a major early lead. He can score. He's a good iron player. He can take leads in tournaments that are, favorable conditions. And I thought, because I looked at his course history, and Stallings has done okay here. Let me look. Boop, boop. Yeah. He's top 25 last 2 years. He makes cuts. I thought, okay, Stallings probably going to be in the 7.4 range based on recent history. He's 6'7". I mean, again, if you're going to start beautiful weather in Kentucky today, Wiley, yes, I have not been outside except Jason Graham to collect the ticket off my car from the fascist enterprise of Lex Park, who will put a barnacle in my car here next week because they hate me. Literally saw the guy putting the ticket in my car. He doesn't care. Gives me one of these to my office window.
Good for you. It's still an atmospheric river out in LA. This is like one of the only times in my existence where the LA weather feels like it's worse than everywhere else in the country.
Mondo Andalucci. Do you know Clay? Lexington here. Yes. We got a horse running Wednesday at Turfway, by the way. Come on up. No, I'm going to pretend I remember what I was talking about. It was
Scott Stallings.
Mm-hmm. 6-7 play, like a Matsuyama, like a Dietrich.
Mm-hmm.
Stallings, if you're going to start with a Scheffler Thomas build, you're going to need one of those guys. I think he's safe. I think a Ryder's safe. I know you like Ryder.
Love Ryder.
I'm not there on Goddard yet, but you'll get there.
I'll get you there. Okay, as it stands now, winner. Who's your winner?
Clay is my neighbor, by the way, Mondo. He's right next door to me. He's one of my best friends in town, so you're in good company. I will say, gosh, I think that Thomas has played so well recently. He's kind of back-ish. I thought last week, okay, we'll finally see some regression. But Thomas, in a place where you need to make a ton of scores, that guy goes after it. Mm-hmm. Max Homa, an amazing golfer, probably a little more conservative. It's probably going to be Thomas week again. This week for me. Not again.
I hope you're right, because as soon as Xander withdrew, I panic bet JT. I was kind of deciding between like Spieth and somebody else in the 30s or going up top high with Thomas, because I still don't love the number. Like I know there are some 14s out there that some people hit. I woke up too late on the West Coast and missed that. And I luckily did get an 11 in on Justin Thomas. I think he's at 10-9 after the Xander withdrawal. I don't love the number. It gives me a little bit more Kawa vibes from 2 weeks ago, where I'm paying a higher premium than I would like for a player that I think is kind of a perfect course fit. And then he doesn't have the perfect putting week, and you staring at yourself wondering why you didn't create a more balanced portfolio of golfers in the 30s and 40s. But I'm with you, as JT is he would be my pick to win as of now. If I wanted to get different from you and throw a dart, my favorite bet on the board is Hideki Matsuyama 60-1. I just think it's too high. Do you have a long shot or favorite guy below like 7.5? The U of the week.
I love Kevin Yu. Is he a little gassed?
Kevin Yu, maybe, and Kevin Yu chalk. Like, I feel like the secret's out on Kevin Yu. Kevin Yu got hit in the markets today. Kevin Yu is like, I don't know what Kevin Yu opened at.
And where did it begin? Right fucking here.
Right here, yeah.
Right here.
I think Kyle may know this, but he probably opened north of 100, and I think he's down to 80. So I worry a little bit about, I don't think Kevin Yu is enough of a household name to generate significant ownership at 7.3, maybe in the higher stakes.
Not yet. But maybe in the higher stakes, man, he smashes it.
Got to play Kevin Yu.
He smashes it. And he's aggressive. He's a gamer. I like his attitude. He's got guts. I'll have you, of course. But I'm thinking that one of the best prices for me. I mean, Keith Mitchell's been playing well, very well. Great all around golfer. Him and Harmon have been getting mispriced. Harris English, your boy Harris English, 7.5 now. Never. Him, Bo Hostler. No, just go in your cave. I think Taylor Montgomery, ball striker, great putter, can birdie the shit out of a course. Sub 7.5. Hasn't quit. I really like Taylor Montgomery this week.
I will go. I'm going to stick with
Chris Goddard.
Ryder. I'm going to stick with Ryder as my guy at 6.9.
I love
I
it.
think Ryder's
I love it.
an awesome play at 6.9.
On Wednesday, because we've got a horse race Turfway. We got to adjust the show schedule. We're going to do 3 p.m. Eastern, not 8 p.m. Eastern. And I got to hear back from him because he was confirmed. But Keith Stewart what does he do now? He's in the PGA Tour. He works CBS.
He does a lot of stuff. He's a good dude. I've hung out with Keith before. We hung out in Vegas.
He's funny.
Last January. Really good dude. I've played golf with him before in New Jersey. He's taken me out to I played golf with him multiple times. He's taken me. I played Somerset Hills with him, which is one of the greatest golf courses in America. I played another course in Princeton, New Jersey with him. Keith's a great guy. Can't wait to have him on the show.
He is he's a 5-time award-winning PGA professional. I did not know that.
Good player too. Yeah,
he's a Sports Illustrated guy. So he's going to come on hopefully on Wednesday at 3. If not, we'll have a third special guest. If not, Kobe. He killed it last week.
Kobe's awesome. I love talking golf with Kobe.
Wiley, did you get your Valhalla tickets? Yes. Actually, Dan from DraftKings, shout out to Dan LaPera. He asked if I wanted Derby or Valhalla tickets. Flex. We won't need Derby tickets because we're going to have a horse there. Kind of.
Ask for Valhalla tickets and give them to me. I'll buy.
You want them? You got them.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think I can. It's going to be an ask in terms of my traveling schedule because I know I got one of my best friend's wedding in May, so in the Bahamas. So we'll see.
Kentucky not good enough for you? Is that what you're saying?
No, I honestly. So I have here's a take to get us out of here on. I think that I think the pendulum has swung too far on destination weddings. Okay. These destination weddings now, like you're asking, and obviously I'm going to go to this one happily because it's my best friend from high school. Right. But we're talking now, these weddings that start on there's a pool party on Thursday, a welcome party on Friday. You're missing half a week of work. Okay. The wedding ceremony Saturday night. They ask you to get there on Thursday. You're flying into Nassau, Bahamas, and then taking a ferry to another island in Bahamas. The end of the weekend, you're staring at your wallet and you're down like $3,000 on travel minimum. I think these week-long wedding celebration destination weddings, it's gone too far. It's just gone too far. I'm bemoaning this right now because I'm in my late 20s, early 30s. So I have 3 to 4 weddings a year for the next 5 years. You've passed this, but I think you got the right end of the stick before we hit this destination wedding trend that I am hitting right now.
Yeah, I think the key to this and in life is to not have friends. Just be a loner.
Did you have a huge wedding, Wiley? Like a big? Yeah.
No. Yeah. I was fucking poor. No, I didn't have anything. We had nothing.
Thank you, Jason. I agree with you. Thank God golf is doing so well.
Here's what you should do. Wait till your friends are married 20 years and then have a wedding because all these fuckers are going to get divorced anyway. You can tell them that. And then you go through baby season. We're past that. And now we're in death season. So whatever. Just don't have friends. Don't have friends. Just hang out with your wonderful girlfriend. Have some kids. Hang out with me every Monday and Wednesday.
And that's all you need. Have a dog.
Have a dog. That's life. And then you die.
Yep. Crew, really quickly. I like posting this week, especially if it's a little bit softer. But that's all I got.
This Kyle. You need to correct your child here, Kyle. Yeah. Is this the blue Kyle, Discord Kyle?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have a little talk with him about 5 minutes.
He's right. Taylor Montgomery.
There you go. He gets it. No, don't do that. Sorry.
All right. That's it for us. We're out of here.
All right. Hang on. Wait. I wish I had this queued up right on time, but I don't.